Hey there, third video for the day. Trying to keep them short so that I don't take up too much of your time while staggering your mind. It's about Brea, the new uh, episodic television series on NBC. I've had some pretty darn interesting conversations with a few military types who tell me that there's really not that much fictional about it. Yepers. And they were asking me, they said, what do you think's causing these sinkholes that really do exist? They said that there really are sinkholes like the ones in La Brea. Whoa. Talk about something that's stranger than science fiction. Um, in the high desert, they said Afghanistan is pockmarked with them. That there are some in the White Sands area where early nuclear missiles were being tested in the United States, and elsewhere where there are a lot of nuclear tests, which must mean India and Iran, as well as possibly some other unfortunate countries. And they said, what do you think's causing them? Is it something in our DNA? Are we, affecting timelines or something? And I said, no, I think it has more to do with either CERN or the nuclear tests themselves. CERN has malfunctioned repeatedly. I don't know if you know about it, but when they initially brought CERN online, the particle accelerator in Europe that is incidentally built on the ancient Temple of Apollo. Yeah, CERN is built on the Temple of Apollo. That's not a coincidence. That they accidentally sent some neutrinos shooting through a wall, and it was kind of like, whoops, whoops is not what you want to hear out of the engineers at CERN. You don't want to have a whoops out of anybody at CERN ever. They've had some really strange experiences there, very bizarre, and including things that seem to be breaking any laws of nature that we know about. But always remember that the human species is in its infancy in so many ways. Our best knowledge about physics is like a toddler. But unfortunately, now that we've got CERN, it's like those engineers are toddlers with a bazooka, toddlers with a tsarbama. They don't know what the heck they're doing, but they're trying to do it to your world. And now some of them want to recreate the Big Bang in a lab. Why the hell would you want to? Look what happened last time. Duh, humans. Children should play with tiddlywinks and board games and video games and so forth. Children should not be allowed to play with CERN. Yeah, think. So I think, incidentally, they had to shut CERN down right away that very first day. Then they waited about 6 months. That was in the autumn of the year they first opened it up, and then they didn't even try to start it up again until they had recalibrated everything. And that time they did not accidentally shoot subatomic particles through the wall. Oh boy, duh. And but they have had several other oops times, mainly from trying to turn the power grid up as far as it possibly can go. There's a guy on YouTube, a scientist, who follows what they do every single day, and he reports on what they're doing every single day. And he said, hide under your desks and kiss your butts goodbye, people, because CERN is trying to mess with reality. Again, they turned the grid up as high as it could possibly go. Then there have been photographs and videos made. Some of them I've seen on Secure Team 10 uh, and other places. I think Street Cap was a YouTube ufologist who passed away mysteriously a while back. But I saw some really, really strange completely, perfectly circular cloud formations directly over CERN, and they had these little ridges that looked like clams. And it looked exactly like the rim around the fictional images that we have of stargates. But they were horizontal or they were parallel to the Earth. But I swear to God, and I'll even swear to you, if you do just the tiniest bit of research or try to access some of the images, the old images of in Security 10 and elsewhere, you will see cloud formations that are perfectly too regular to not be man-made somehow. Straight lines like that don't occur in nature. And they look exactly like the rim that is around the fictional images we have from the movies and the television series Stargate. So what the heck is CERN doing, generating clouds like that? Some people call it a portal, and there have been military intelligence people worldwide that call those things, when those cloud formations occur, they call them portals. Portals. CERN is messing with physics, and they could very literally destroy the world. We need to get those tiddlywinks out of the hands of those toddlers. Now, but I think the most likely cause of these sinkholes that I swear to God, and I'll even swear to you, these military intelligence types are saying are dropping people and other stuff into some kind of alternate reality, and they know because they've sent probes and drones and people down there, some of whom may have made it back out, I'm not sure. But they say that there definitely are sinkholes that seem to be opening up into some kind of alternate probable experience. You may have heard of the Mandela effect. Well, you can literally fall right into a Mandela affected world. I've been called a creative genius, but even I can't make stuff like this up. Um, so, the very first nuclear test will have begun a process of very literally disrupting the fabric of time and space. The time space continuum is apparently delicate, it is apparently manipulable, and from what I can tell, the time space continuum, the what we call the fabric of time and space, has been disrupted, injured, somehow problematically changed by our ignorance, our stupidity, our willful, utter greed, and our desire to make war upon one another. What are we doing? Testing nukes to begin with. We're trying to figure out how to kill each other better and more efficiently. Ever heard of Nagasaki? Ever heard of Hiroshima? Would you want to have been there? Uh-uh. No. Think in terms of intelligence. How smart is it really that because we can do something, we figured out how to do something, we go ahead and do it. There's a clarion call in philosophical and ethical training taught in colleges worldwide that says just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. There's something called intellectual restraint. And there's plenty of things that we all need to have impulse control over, and one of them is Oh, disrupting the fabric of time and space. Do you know that there's been more than 2,000 nuclear explosions above ground, in the atmosphere, and underground since World War II? And the massive, appalling terrorist act of Nagasaki and Hiroshima was wrought upon this world? A nuclear explosion in a city is not an act of war. It's an act of terrorism. And I was born in the United States of America on a military intelligence base that had a national security agency attachment there. And by the time I was 4 or 5, because my parents were very politically astute and very interested in educating children about the real world, by the time I was 4 or 5 years old, I recognized that I had been born into a country that committed the greatest, most massive act of terrorism to ever be wrought upon this planet. And I was exploding a nuclear bomb in a city. I am disgusted by humanity. And I will not tolerate anybody around me saying that we're the highest form of life on this planet, because there's no other form of life on this world so completely dedicated, so massively invested in all of its immense resources and trying to figure out how to kill other forms of life. We're not just trying to kill each other because we're too stupid to be able to get along with each other. We are capable of destroying all forms of life on this world. And I'm disgusted to be a member of a species that considers itself evolved and is so morally inferior, so intellectually incapable of grasping what we're doing to this world in our pursuit of so-called knowledge. We need to grow up and show up with something significantly better than a science without ethics and a heart without the will to change. So this is Nancy Love telling you that that sinkhole in Los Angeles that appears to be fictional could really happen. And the sinkhole that the La Brea NBC seemingly fictional episodic television series is portraying as being filled in and so forth might really be there, for all I know. I've always known there was something special about Topanga. But I'm telling you point blank, and I'm probably going to hear some grief about this, but I'm telling the world that the militaries of this world and the uncontrolled, unbridled scientists of this world are very literally destroying the fabric of space and time. Incidentally, you need to subscribe to my channel. If any of these videos have been meaningful to you, I would appreciate you subscribing. It won't be monetized for a long time. I'm not making any money for doing what I'm doing, but I am adamant about getting the word out about certain things. And I've also found out that quite a few people are looking at it who aren't, who are actually illegally offloading it and putting it on the dark web. So the Planet Peace Project channel is a whole heck of a lot more popular than it appears to be by the number of subscribers and views and viewing hours. Because people are stealing it in order to use it for their own purposes. And I don't appreciate that, and I'm going to come after them legally. now. More later. I'm just getting started here.